when we are trying to get you to work out less, it's not because we don't want you to work out hard or push yourself. It's because most people think they need to spend that 6 or 7 days in the gym. But then when I ask them how many hours they sleep or how much time they invested in their recovery, it's not even close. I have the mantra more so of like, recover just as hard as you work out.
Regardless of where you score on the, bell curve, now you have a place where you're beginning. And you'll never know if that's going to change unless you commit to it for 3 months, 12 weeks, 90 days. When you do that, that's when you know. When you finish and you cross the finish line, you look back and you retest at the end and you go, holy shit, like this is working. How's that going to make you feel? When you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, I look good. When you go from I don't know or I can't to I don't know to I am to look at me now, how's that going to feel? And that's what we want to share with you with this program. Cool. So what we're diving into the physical side of what we're doing. We told you in the last episode that we wanted to talk to you all about our cross-building program and 100 days to a fitter you. For some of you, you're probably rolling with our month-over-month cross-building program, which includes a more CrossFit with functional bodybuilding style training, and then a at-home dumbbell, kettlebell balanced training. And we're going to keep those rolling for the $20 a month moving forward. But with the launch of Beyond Coaching and the Beyond Coaching community, we wanted to give everybody a target and a goal whenever it is that you enter through our digital doors. And what we've launched, we will be launching next month, is the Cross Building 100. And the reason why we named it Cross Building 100 is because we truly believe that through this methodology and this programming, you are 100 days away from becoming the fittest version of yourself in a very long time. And cross-building, man, there's so much I want to talk about, and I don't want to get into all the weeds on it right now. But when you hear cross-building, and you've been programming with me for a while on it now, and doing it and seeing what you're doing, like, what does that mean to you, and how would you explain it to somebody coming in for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what Kevin said, when I hear cross-building, I hear CrossFit. And when I hear building, I think bodybuilding to some extent, right? So I think what's cool about it is we do take that approach with some level of variation, some level of strength training, some level of hypertrophy training, some level of metabolic conditioning. And it's a nice mix that we've created because we start looking at programming a little differently, which is cool. Kevin and I have both programmed for CrossFit. We've both programmed for more bodybuilding-esque programming, hypertrophy and fat loss goals. I've done a little strength and conditioning. I believe you've done a little strength and conditioning. And I think all of those areas can be applicable. And what we've really tried to think about and peel back is like, what is really the goal of this, and what is the most effective dose of each of these areas? And I think a lot of people try to either do the same thing all the time, or they don't understand how they can phasally integrate different properties of fitness or exercise for that matter. So yeah, I think it's a nice combination of, we're going to be doing strength training, we're going to be doing some level of hypertrophy and endurance, and we're going to be working on metabolic conditioning, and we're going to help people 4 days a week figure out how to be the most efficient with the time that they have to invest in it.
Yeah. And I, the way we break it down, or used to break it down, just on the back end, so we understood what we were talking about, is S5. So you have the strength section, you have the swagger section, which is Chris's terminology, which I enjoy, for hypertrophic training. You have skill work, right? So whether that be gymnastics or asymmetrical work or rotational work, or there's different, things that we use our body to move better for body awareness. You have stamina, which is anywhere from, aerobic capacity to endurance style training, working on your VO2 max or anaerobic threshold. And I think anaerobic, if I'm getting technical, goes into the strength section too a little bit, but we won't get too much into energy systems today. And then stretching, right? Stretching, mobility, SMR, very important, especially as I'm going to be 38 years old. These things help me feel a lot better going into my workouts every single day, where if I'm warming up and cooling down appropriately, I'm going to have a better training session. And the reason why, this program has worked so well for me recently is I used to train 6, 7 days a week in a competitive training program. Now, won't necessarily consider myself a competitor because I haven't competed in a very long time. But when I did, it was at a semi-elite level, and never did anything CrossFit Games, Olympia. It didn't work out for me for one reason or another, and that's fine. But I just enjoyed that type of training, like beating myself up for 3 hours a day or multiple sessions during the day, and walking away like crushed and saying like, this was the best workout ever. And then I'd see some results, and then I'd see some plateau, and I'd see some results, and I see some plateau. But the one I look back on it now, that's not sustainable. And we want, longevity as the goal, sustainability as the goal, while seeing the aesthetics form into what it is that you want it to become, whether it be bigger, smaller, leaner, more mass, and then performance, right? So strength, aerobic capacity, conditioning, all the above. We want you to be able to do these things and move your body well. So when it comes to Cross Building 100, like Chris said, how this will vary, it's going to be based for, and we understand this since we've programmed for both CrossFit and non-CrossFit people for a while now, it's going to be based out of a traditional gym, which was a little tricky to put together based off of not programming for the masses in a traditional gym for a very long time. But being that I've been doing it for myself for the past few months, I'm excited to have people touch on both the traditional fitness in a gym with some functional training. In gym sessions will be 4 times a week, right? And you may think that's crazy to be like, oh, I'm only going to the gym 4 times a week. And yes, it's going to be 45 minutes to an hour max inside that session. And I share that with you because in doing so, and I started walking more, which we'll get into later in general movement, but the results speak for themselves. Like physically, I feel better. My body is less achy. I'm getting leaner in the areas I want to get leaner. I'm putting on size in the areas I don't want to put on size. So it's funny going from one end of the spectrum when it was all out all the time, super intense, a lot of volume, to moderate volume, more intentionality behind the training, and actually seeing the changes that I want to see happen faster. Now, I don't think I could compete the same way I did years ago, but the goal is different. It's to look better, feel better for a longer period of time. And that's what we're seeing with the Cross Building 100. What else you got when it comes to, training 4 times a week? And what are your thoughts on that process? Because I'm sure people have come to you and said, like, that's not going to work, because that's what I've heard.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting because we talked about this, I think it was our last episode, and a lot of people have the mentality of more is more, right? And just keep grinding it out. And, for some people that can work for a period of time. But I think what you start to see over time is complications can arise, whether that's in your metabolic health, in your physical health, with how good your joints, muscles, such things feel, injuries. And when we are trying to get you to work out less, it's not because we don't want you to work out hard or push yourself. It's because most people think they need to spend that 6 or 7 days in the gym. But then when I ask them how many hours they sleep or how much time they invested in their recovery, it's not even close. And, I have the mantra more so of like, recover just as hard as you work out. And nobody spends, that I know of, not a lot of people anyway, spend the same amount of time recovering, not from a simply sleep perspective, but investing time into foam rolling and stretching, trying to get into a sauna, trying an ice bath, going for a walk, taking a cold shower, waking up with the sun and trying to go down with the sun. Like, there's so many details within that people don't want to do, which I could argue is even easier than fitness. But, we said, again, last episode, I believe, or 2 episodes ago, fitness is the low hanging fruit because we think it's, the more tangible item to do. It's also the sexier thing to do. It's the thing that other people can see us do. Not many people see me sleep, right? But there's a lot of things, like Kevin said, that can be done when no one's looking. And those are the times where we need to take action.
Absolutely. And I feel like, recovery is, the need for recovery lies in consistency, just like the need for fitness lies in consistency. What I fear is not everybody is able to bounce back when they feel burnt out after going through an intense training protocol for an extended period of time. They may lose different areas of their life, whether it be at home or at work, or they're not sleeping well, or they just get fed up with the gym routine, or they start slipping when it comes to their food, and they put on a couple of pounds and they're like, oh, this isn't working anymore. My training isn't as good. But just imagine for a second, get that energy drink. Let's go. That's not an energy drink.
Like 180 mgs, I think, of caffeine, though.
No, does it? No. Anyway.
Don't make me second guess myself on live TV. 180 mgs of caffeine, yeah, right here.
All right, there you go.
Plus BCAAs. We stay winning.
There you go. The idea is, like I was just saying, if we imagine for a second, you trained 4 days a week in the gym, and you had 1 day in the week when you're not in the gym and you're moving your body outside of the gym. So we'll just call it running for this instance, because most people have access to their feet and somewhere to run outside. And you did this at 75 to 85% through different cycles. And then you had 3 days a week to walk, recover, and focus on your ability to continue to do that for a long period of time. I won't put a number on it, but we'll say a year, I suppose. Where are you going to be at the end of the year if you can dial in all the time you don't have for food, family, finances, career, if you just train all the time? Because this isn't about, yes, physically we want to, and we know you will see changes, but the idea is this is going to help you open up opportunities in every area of your life. And we're going to start this off very traditional, very simple, with a fitness assessment. And if you have never taken a fitness assessment, I highly recommend that you take ours so you see where the gaps are in your training from a strength and conditioning standpoint. The fitness assessment is over 4 days. You have 7 days to complete it, ideally, but you're going to do it in 4 days. And you're going to test strength, and you're going to test your anaerobic fitness, and you're going to test your aerobic capacity. And then you're going to have some markers based on what the net averages are on some studies that we've researched and found. And you're going to see where you lie, whether it's under average, average, or above average, or elite. And then from that, you'll go into our training program, Cross Building 100. And over 3 months, you're going to train 4 to 5 times a week, 4 days in the gym, 1 day not. If you can make it happen, which I highly recommend you make the time for, because they're 45-minute sections. Just scroll a little less on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then you're going to be able to see some positive changes happen in your life, because we know that it's very applicable in your day-to-day based off of, one, the programming that we wrote and the application that we're using. And I'm really excited about the application that we're using. And if you want to know more about it, you're going to have to get on the inside. But what I will share, or I'll have Chris share, is the ability to have this be flexible to your ability and equipment. So any thoughts on the assessment first, and then go into the accessibility of this program?
Yeah, in general, assessments are great. It may not be the assessment you think. It's not a mobility assessment. There's a ton of different assessments. But if you're not taking time to assess anything, even just how you feel in the morning, for gosh sakes, but like if you're not taking time or in any part of your journey assessing and reassessing, what are you really measuring? Right? And there's more to your body fat, right? And your weight on the scale that you should be assessing, right? Because there are wins to be had all over the place. And even if you take this assessment and you feel like you wish you had a better score, or you had a higher percentage, good, right? That is the starting point. Now we know what all of this room for growth is. And now we know where we want to go. And maybe this assessment still doesn't tell you where you want to go, or maybe not the whole story. That's all good. But we need to figure out ways to reassess. So I highly recommend doing our assessment. Absolutely. Because we want, just like in CrossFit, right? There are workouts that are repeatable workouts that you see. They're called benchmark WODs. We want this to be almost like a benchmark WOD, right? These are repeatable things that we can do once a quarter You could do it more frequently than that, probably once a quarter, because testing can be typically strenuous on your nervous system and your body as a whole. But yeah, I highly recommend doing the assessment. And I want to say one other thing that Kevin had me think about before, and I actually made a post about this earlier, but how many people, again, want to spend that extra time? Let's say, like, if I don't have a 60-minute window to go to the gym, my day is ruined. I can't go for just 40, or, I can only work out at home today, so I can't do anything. Well, that's bullshit, right? And we know that. And that's what we want to help you realize through this process. Because what if you take one of our 45-minute sessions to 60-minute sessions, you broke it up into 2 sessions? What if you broke it into 3 sessions if you had to? What if you can't get to the gym and you take the workout and you just click through our app and figure out how to do your movement substitution so you can still fulfill yourself with the workout, because something is always better than nothing. You can remain consistent within what you want to do. You want to be consistent in getting that habit done, right? There's plenty of days where myself and Kevin don't want to do something. It doesn't mean that we need to do something every day, but if we say, hey, we're doing 4 days a week of activity, you can bet your ass we're going to do 4 days a week of activity. It might mean that I'm walking instead of taking the subway in the city, and I walk 3 or 4 miles, right? Whatever it is, there's a way to figure it out, to hold yourself accountable and deliver, right? And accomplish our health goals in whatever our goal might be. So that's the beautiful thing about that program as well.
Yeah. And the idea is, like, you open the door, and what are you doing over the next 3 months, right? And I spoke about this earlier on a post, earlier today, actually, when I was asking, I was on a story and I was asking, like, is your program that you're following yielding the results that you initially thought it would yield? And our promise is that this will, when you show up and follow the plan, right? And look, our plan may not be the right plan for you. I don't know. Like, this is something that we believe is flexible and easily manageable for someone who's between 30 and 50 years old and has adult responsibilities. For example, I was talking with my brother Owen the other day, and he's like, I'm struggling to get to the gym 3 times a week. I work nights and I have an infant in the house. I was like, cool, buy a fucking kettlebell and do it at home. You have 20 minutes. Like, you're not getting any sympathy, love for me, bro. Like, I know you can do this. You just got to want to do it. He's like, oh, I think I'll just do more sprints. And I was like, okay, cool. Do more sprints. Do more zone tune training. That would probably be more beneficial for you if you want to lose fat. And then, oh yeah, let's tighten up the food. So, like Chris said on the assessment, that is one metric per movement that, regardless of where you score on the, bell curve, now you have a place where you're beginning, and you'll never know if that's going to change unless you commit to it for 3 months. For 3 months, 12 weeks. 90 days. When you do that, that's when when you finish and you cross the finish line, you look back and you retest at the end and you go, holy shit, like, this is working. How's that going to make you feel? When you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, I look good. How's that going to make you feel? When you go from I don't know, or I can't, to I don't know, to I am, to look at me now, how's that going to feel? And that's what we want to share with you with this program. So we're pumped about Cross Building 100. We know it's going to rock, and the people that are going to be in it are going to get the results that they want to see. So I really just wanted to touch base with you guys on that today and cover the bases on the assessment and what cross building means and the S5 approach. And we're going to see you in there on November 18th. And if this is past November 18th, come on in and you can start whenever you do jump in, because there's no better time than right now to open that door and give it all you got. And we'll be there to help you along the way if you have questions, comments, and concerns, because that's what we do when you start the conversation. So yeah, I mean, that's all I want to really chat about today. Is like kind of dive into the assessment, cross building, the app, the flexibility, substitution style, and how you can make it mold to the equipment and the ability that you have. So yeah, dude, what else? You got anything else right now? I think that's 20 minutes talking about fitness. So like maybe you guys come back tomorrow and we do something else, talk about something different. But what do you think, Chris?
I think overall I'm good. I feel like I said my piece. We're excited about the new platform we're going to be using our programming in, and that we've started using our programming in. So we're excited for you to check that out. It's got a really friendly user experience, and it gives us a lot of great data so we can share your wins with you, give you a lot of direct feedback when necessary, and a lot of cool features. So yeah, we're excited. And if you're that person who you're still saying, fuck these guys, 4 days a week for 45 minutes to 60 minutes is not enough, come on and join us for 3 months. It's $90. It's probably cheaper than a lot of the things that you're doing. It's cheaper than most of the supplements you're spending it on. And listen, if you don't believe us, maybe we'll do something for you. We'll try your program and we'll see what works better, right? But yeah, no, I'm just excited. I think there's a lot of value to be had here. We're going to help people reinvest their time, and there's always more to do. So, and more to do doesn't mean work out more. Like I said earlier, there's more to recover on, more sleep to be had, and more relationships to build, more time to spend with family and friends, right? There's more to do, and that does not just mean about our fitness.
Hell yeah. And I probably won't do someone else's program right now. So like Chris will, maybe, if you convince him. But
I'm a psycho. I'll do a lot of different stuff
at the end of the day. I got one arm at the moment, so I'm going to stick to what's been working.
Fair.
Down 10 pounds in 18 days. So,
let's go.
We'll keep this going for a little bit, and then we'll bump some calories up. So I know I can stay where I am. But until next time, we'll see you guys then. Appreciate you listening for 20 minutes or so, and we'll chat with you soon. See ya.
Have a good one, everybody.